بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم سبحان الذي سخرنا هذا وما كنا له مقرنين وإنا إلى ربنا لمنقلبون.
What's the story?
Okay, so Mr. Kochi, 60-year-old fellow with a history of locally advanced gastric cancer. Surgery was September of 2000, had a partial gastrectomy. At that time you met with him, recommended chemo. He's eating more. His weight's down about 7 pounds since you saw him 3 months ago, although he says it's a weight loss in the last 2 weeks. Yeah.
So he's not the least bit interested in chemotherapy or
No.
I'll just take this in for him in case he wants to see.
Okay.
What worries me is that the CT scan from March shows that there is a little bit more disease than there was even in January. So I'm worried that the cancer here is a little bit worse, even though he's feeling well.
مگر میگه چیزی که ما فکر ما خراب است که نمی جایی که معده دیدیم میگه اینجا نشان میده عکس‌ها که ما دیدیم که یک ذره زیادتر شده از جنوری که در از پیش از رفتنیت که دارم دیگه اینو میبینم.
So just as when we talked last fall, I think that it is reasonable to try some chemotherapy, and my recommendation would be to try some chemotherapy to try to make these tumor nodules smaller in the abdomen. So it's always hard to get no percentages, but I can show them a picture.
میگه از جنوری 4 شما نموذجی که این قسم حلقه که زد خطی که زد میگه نموذج سیاهی داشتین و نموذج پرابلم بوده این مگر حالا این نموذج دو نموذج است که یک ذره کلانتر شده زیادتر شده باده
سخن است این است که وقتی که کیموتراپی مرض از بین برده نمیتونه و خود دیگه تکلیف هم بیدم ضعیف بسازیم یعنی چه فایده میکنه چه فایده کرد برای من.
It's a very good question. The truth is that no one can guarantee the benefit, but I think that if we were successful in getting shrinkage of the disease with a relatively mild chemotherapy, he may feel well longer. And it's hard to put a number of months on that or a number of years.
ما به یه عقیده هستیم روزی که به ما تعیین شده فاذا جاء اجلهم فاستأخرون لا يستقدمون اما روزی که تعیین شده اون پیش میشه و پس میشه.
I think that our goal then in medicine is to help you feel as well as you can feel until that day comes.
حي على السلام حي على السلام حي على الفلاح حي على الفلاح الله أكبر الله أكبر لا إله إلا الله.
So this family agreed to undergo the surgery, and I don't actually know what the patient himself knew at the time of the surgery, but nonetheless went through a gastrectomy, and at the conclusion of the procedure, which he fortunately tolerated well, was told that we got it all. A comment that we internists hear from surgeons all the time. We got it all, but why don't you go see my friend downstairs talking about chemotherapy?
The last issue is when there's a language issue. I do not operate on somebody that has not had an opportunity to talk to me through a translator.
Yeah, hospital translator.
Rather than the family.
Not the family.
So we get caught in that bind. fairly frequently.
Yeah, you know you're in trouble when you give like a long paragraph. 2 words. You know, it's like, wait a minute. Are you telling them what I said?
I don't know how much of it relied on his religion or his background or his sense of logic or sense of health or fear of chemotherapy, or how much may have been a miscommunication that maybe he would have accepted chemotherapy had I been more convincing. Okay. Why don't you just relax there? I'm going to lift your leg. I want you to tell me if this causes any pain. Very flexible. Much more flexible than I am.
Yeah, sure.
Okay, good. Let me help you sit up. Well, I'm sorry you're having discomfort here. I don't know exactly what's causing that discomfort, though it always concerns me that it could be the tumor. We know that the cancer or the tumor is in this vicinity, is in this area of the body.
So he still has it.
So he still has it, and it may very well be that the cancer is contributing to that pain, even the pain in the back.
So you're basically telling me my dad still has the cancer? Because I know when I talked to Bandari on the phone...
I think he's always had the cancer. I don't think I've always felt that he's had this cancer. But why don't you just have a seat down here? We can talk a little bit more about this. So I know that this is the first time we've met, so you have not been able to participate in some of the other conversations. When I first met your father, it was more a question of whether he would agree to try some chemotherapy to try to control the growth of the cancer in those lymph nodes. And he chose not to have the chemotherapy. We talked about chemotherapy options.
I have a question.
Yeah.
When you were giving him the options, were there was a translator or just my sisters?
But no, I don't remember. I'm sorry. I honestly don't remember.
When I asked my dad why he refused chemotherapy, he told me because there was one that they were just gonna put a pipe through his arm.
Yes, and so one of the drugs we give as a continuous infusion.
Yeah.
That is, we put a long catheter in the arm, and then we hook that catheter up to a small pump, and then you carry around a pump, and the pump slowly drips in the chemotherapy 24 hours a day.
Okay.
Curiously, even though that sounds horrible, it actually turns out that the chemotherapy is easier that way. So one sad confession I have to make to you for the first time, but I've always spoken with him and other family members, is that we don't have any treatments that will cure this disease.
So his
disease is incurable.
His is incurable.
Incurable, which means that I don't have a drug that will make it go away forever.
I know it doesn't, but will it slow down? Then
well, that's what we hope.
If he can live one minute longer for us, it means a lot to me. I know he's like a religious person. He accepts his fate, and I believe if there's a disease, there has to be something to either kill it or slow it down. Then I don't want to lose my dad, just because he decided not to. I think there was no translator at that minute. I mean, like right now,
that was the first visit where I met his daughter, who was a little bit outraged that we had not offered him treatment before. Of course, we had offered him treatment, but he had chosen not to receive treatment.
حتی ما په خپل ورته ویلې چې که چیرته پیچکاري وي یا تابلت یا کپسول زه اخلم استعمالوم دوی ویلې چې نه دا کیمیاوي دوا موږ لرو.
When I asked Dr. Fisher and says, oh, well, I did tell your dad, but your dad never agreed to it. And when I asked my dad said, he never told me. So I don't know who to believe or what to believe.
ما خو موافقه عند اول ورځ نه کومې چې ګولې او د پیسکاری دا اول ورځ چې زما یې په سجیو زاده ومه انا مال ماشین نه سم تړای انا د ماشین نو نور د هر چیز ز تطبیق ومه ولې دغه په یګه ما خو د وخت د مرز د ابتدا کې د کنټرول نشي بیا کړو
اروح بس ترى غلط تاع ویلي د کیموتراپي د ویلي دي
ماشین ویلي
د ما د اړیو هغه تاسو مربوط چې د ترانسلیټر د سره د بچا ورته ویل چې بلشي او چې بلشي لپاره
بیا ماته شاتنه دی
ویلي دي دوی هغه لري فلم لري دوی وای لري فلم وای نه ډاکټر نجری سره د ویل چې اروح صدا ماته ویل چې اروح ته وای د پلان چې راته وای ما ورته چې د کیموتراپي هغه وکا شروع کا نه زه نه وایم د چا صحیح د چا غلط ده رښتیا هغه به یو شی رښتیا وایي کاکا ته نه پوهېږي رښتیا درته ویلي به یي تا ته به چا در ویلي نه وي هغه ترجمه به له یاده وتلې
فرض موږ ملامت کړل
نه موږ زه هېڅوک نه ملامت یم زه خپله ځان ملامت یم چې زه ولې نه ورسره راغلی وایم دا به مو شپږ میاشتې مخکې هغه کړی شروع کړې But when I look at what Fisher told me, it's like, well, I always offered chemotherapy to your dad, but yeah, you would keep on offering the same thing over and over, and my dad was keep on refusing that. So right now, I actually understand my dad. Yep, I think how my sister explained it to him. Every time Fisher would say chemotherapy, my dad was like, oh, the pump.
Assalamu alaikum.
Before praying, you have to be clean. You wash your hands, your arms, your face, your feet. You cannot allow yourself to bleed, or you cannot have something injected to your body. So that's why my dad couldn't do it, because he couldn't pray.
حي على الصلاة حي على الصلاة حي على الفلاح حي على الفلاح